Bonjour, mes amis. Welcome, everyone, to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa. Whether you are here in Worship Hall or watching from wherever you may be, know that you are welcome. I'm the Reverend this congregation's lead minister, and I'm thrilled to be with all of you on such a gray Sunday, the Sunday before Valentine's Day. This morning I am joined by our worship associate this morning, Mary. Chris was going to be here, but she is down with COVID. I think we are in the early stages of another COVID wave, unfortunately. And we welcome back Kirk from Rome, who will help offer us the gift of music today. So now, please let us sing. Rise as you are willing and able, and begin to sing. Sing with me, Wake Now My Senses, number 294 in our gray hymnal. We will sing verses 1 through 3 and 5. 298.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa, and I am indeed Mary, and I'm delighted to be your worship associate this morning. Whether you are taking part in this worship celebration from your home or wherever else you may be, whenever you may log on, you are welcome here. We acknowledge that our FirstU campus is located on traditional, unsurrendered, and unceded Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory, and that the work of reconciliation is a responsibility of our congregation and of all Canadians. Our goal is to educate ourselves and all those that have the willingness to understand, to be of service to those who are at risk, and to advocate for justice. Do take care and take advantage of online opportunities at FirstU to stay in touch during this protracted pandemic. If you are new to FirstU and would like to learn more about us, please contact us through our email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. And if you are right here in Worship Hall with us this morning and you would like more information about FirstU. It is available at the welcome table at the back of the pews. And there will be someone there at the end of the service to speak to you if you would like help. And now here is Casey from our board to highlight our announcements for today. Casey?
Good morning, everyone. Please join me and several others on Monday evening at 7 p.m. for a lively Zoom town hall on the master concept plan for our affordable housing project. You can find the Zoom link and view the master concept plan on the affordable housing page of our website. And, of course, in the EUU and our weekly email newsletter. The National Canadian Unitarian Council Symposium will be held over the May-long weekend here in Ottawa at Algonquin College. The National Unitarian Youth Conference, called Canoodle, will be held here at the church during the May Symposium. The organizing teams are looking for a few key volunteers, including a coordinator for arranging home hospitality for out-of-town visitors, a volunteer coordinator for overnight chaperones for Canoodle. Please contact Maury Prevost or Lisa Sharp for details, or you can email uuconnections@firstunitarianottawa.ca. Also part of the symposium in May includes the Canadian Unitarian Council's annual general meeting, to which FirstU sends several delegates. You can learn about motions for the annual general meeting, including repudiating the doctrine of discovery at a meeting on Saturday, February 25th at 2:30 p.m., either from home or here in the lounge. And you can read more about the motions at this meeting and in the EUU. Finally, our choir practices for our three choirs, Chalice, Fusion, and the Three Rivers. They're starting up this week, and you're welcome to join, believe it or not. You can email Kirk at music@. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Donna Bowen-Willer from the Environmental Action Group. So, did you check out last week's Climate Cafe? If not, there's another one this week. And what on earth does it take to cap oil and gas? Will the fossil fuel industry ever see that there are opportunities in this action? How can you keep your house cozy without gas? Do you even have an option if you rent? Are you inspired to learn how to grow native wildflowers from seed? And how can you give Mike feedback on our February action? So all of this and more, if you go to the EUU and then click over to the Climate Action page, which I encourage you to do. And really good news from the Ajashki team. The Ajashki Grow Towers are again producing leafy greens. So if you'd like to take some home, go back to the volunteer room after today's service, and it's, I gather this will be happening on repeated Sunday services. So bring your plastic bag, don't bring your plastic bag, and bring a container and collect up some of your green leaves for your salad for dinner tonight.
This next part is honestly my second favorite part of the whole Sunday service. We encourage you to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly email newsletter. Check our Facebook and Instagram pages and our webpage for notices and updates. Our calendar continues to be as full as ever. Though, as global health challenges continue, many of our activities are still taking place online. Whatever your faith, whatever your heritage, whomever you love, and however you identify, today you are part of our spiritual community. Welcome.
Thank you, Casey. We light our chalice this morning to these words from Scott Taylor. We light this chalice in the names of love, the love of family that brings us into being, allows us to bloom, and then sends us on our way with courage, knowing that we can return no matter what. The love of partnered hearts that teach us to trust, the love of friends who help us feel seen and understood, the love of community that bathes us in belonging and calls us to see the needs of others as our own. And also the greatest love, the love that will not let us go, even in our fear, even in our failure, even when we are lonely or lost. Love invites us home if we listen so, and it is doing so, even right now. Our chalice is lit. Come, let us worship together.
Our centering words for this morning are by Amanda Pape. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love that the founders felt when they planned out these walls and raised these beams above us. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of all who have worshiped here, those who have celebrated and grieved here, the babies dedicated, couples married, and family members mourned here. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of our children as they learn and laugh together, and our youth as they grow into their own sense of purpose and meaning. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of the staff who have served it, full of their hopes for this congregation, their hard work, and their acts of dedication. This is the home that love made. It is full of the love of the choir, the love made so clear in the voices lifted here on Sunday morning. This is the home that love made. It is full of our love, the love of this community, despite our differences and our disagreements, the love that holds us together as a people. This is the home that love made. Can you feel it? May the love be with us always.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sharmila, and I've recently started to coordinate our congregation's lay chaplain program. Our lay chaplains are very dedicated members of the congregation who extend our ministry both to our congregation and the Unitarian Fellowship of Ottawa's East End by officiating a range of rites of passage for our members and the larger community. Rites such as child dedications, namings, coming-of-age celebrations, marriages, services of union and dissolution, new home blessings, memorials, and celebrations of life. These lay chaplains articulate and model the principles of Unitarian Universalism and share our practices with many who have previously not known us before.
This morning, we specifically honor two lay chaplains who have completed their time of service in this role, Nikki and Alex. Alex, I know you're here. Would you wave? They have both represented our faith communities with grace, wisdom, and Nikki, hello, I didn't see you before. Welcome, both of you. You have both represented our faith communities with grace, wisdom, and gentle humor. We thank you for your service to our principals and to the larger community.
This morning, we're also welcoming 2 new lay chaplains, Lisa and Guy. So Guy is just recovering from COVID, so he's joining us on the iPad. I hope you can hear and see us, Guy. Wonderful. So Lisa and Guy, it is our desire that you take on the responsibilities of lay chaplain and be available to conduct rites of passage, especially for those in the wider community requesting such services. By making this request of you, we acknowledge your ability to relate well to a variety of people and your loyalty to Unitarian Universalist principles that bring us together. Will you accept this position within our congregation?
Yes, I willingly accept the role of lay chaplain. I will, to the best of my ability, carry out my duties with diligence and compassion, always remembering that I am a representative of the Unitarian Universalist religious community.
Guy, were you following along with Lisa? Okay, great. So I'm hoping oh yes, we have some words on the screen now. So please rise if you are able and join with me in the affirmation of our lay chaplains. Lisa and Guy, we affirm our support for you. We know you to be competent and caring persons, and we approve of you as our lay chaplains. You will be a visible and positive representative of our religious values. We give you our trust and commitment. May your experience as lay chaplains support your spiritual growth and the spiritual growth of our congregation.
You can be seated, but before we conclude this ceremony, Lisa, you can sit down or stay up, either way. Guy, your call as well. 2 more, before we conclude this portion of the ceremony, 2 more rites of passage need to be marked as well. Bob, you coordinated our lay chaplains program for as many years as I can count, if I understand correctly, and went on to help lead the National Lay Chaplains Program. Thank you for all you've done to support these efforts over the years. We would not be here if not for you. We're grateful for who you are and all that you've done and will continue to do. And Sharmila, welcome to your new role of leading our lay chaplains. You are ideal for this task. Know that like all of us, you do not take on these efforts alone. Our efforts are part of a larger shared ministry, the work of this community to make life more just and loving for as many as possible. Thank you for being such a vital part of these efforts. Thank them all. Each week at this time, we pause in honor and recognition of the events that make up our lives, moments of challenge, moments of triumph, moments of sorrow perhaps as well. Amid the backdrop of the rest of the world, the earthquakes upsetting so many between Turkey and Syria. We pause to reflect on a joy in our own community. Most people know today, if they know it today at all, as Super Bowl Sunday. This is a misunderstanding of those letters. I have this on good authority from our denomination's congregational president. It is Superb Owl Sunday. The owl for Our Whole Lives, our denomination's comprehensive human sexuality education program. Ours is going on. So, Superb Owl today. We place a stone for the 13 K through first graders who are in that program, and a stone as well for all the joys and sorrows that remain in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, the ripples radiating in the bowl and out through the pews, out into the wider community as well. Let us gather now for a few moments of stillness and reflection before Kirk brings us back together with the gift of music.
Good morning, everyone. This Sunday before Valentine's Day, an arguably timeless love story seemed fitting. How often we forget the love at the heart of the story of Adam and Eve. Mark Twain first published extracts from Adam's diary in 1893, a work he would end up revising several times. In a later edition, its preface reads, "I translated this portion of this diary some years ago. Since then, I have deciphered more of Adam's hieroglyphics." Twain must have found other hieroglyphics as well, because he went on to translate Eve's diary in 1905. We should also note that Twain translated the hieroglyphics he discovered consistent with the gender roles of his time. We have adapted his translation slightly to fit modern values, but Twain's meaning will come through. We also incorporated cross-gender casting for this reading. Consider yourselves forewarned. We'll begin with Eve.
I arrived yesterday. I feel like an experiment. If I am an experiment, am I the whole of it? No, I think not. I followed the other experiment around yesterday afternoon at a distance to see what it might be for, but I was not able to make it out. I think it is a man. I had never seen a man, but it looked like one, and I feel sure that is what it is. I realize that I feel more curiosity about it than any of the other reptiles. I think it is a reptile, though it may be architecture. I was afraid of it at first and started to run every time it turned around, for I thought it was going to chase me. But by and by, I found that it was only trying to get away. So after that, I was not timid anymore, but tracked it about 20 yards behind, which made it nervous and unhappy. At last, it was a good deal worried and climbed a tree. I waited a good while, then gave it up and went home. Today, the same thing over. I've got it up the tree again.
Monday. This new creature with long hair is a good deal in the way. It is always hanging around and following me about. I don't like this. I am not used to company.
Sunday. It is up there, resting apparently. It looks to me like a creature that is more interested in resting than anything else. It would tire me to rest so much. It tires me just to sit around and watch the tree. I do wonder what it is for. I never see it do anything. Tuesday. It has low tastes and is not kind. When I went there yesterday evening in the gloaming, it had crept down and was trying to catch the little speckled fishes that play in the pool, and I had to clod it to make it go up the tree again and let them alone. I wonder if that is what it's for. Hasn't it any heart? Can it be that it was designed for such ungentle work? One of the clods took it on the back of the ear, and it used language. It gave me a thrill, for that was the first time I had ever heard speech beside my own. I did not understand the words, but they seemed expressive. When I found it could talk, I felt a new interest in it, for I love to talk. But if I had another to talk to, I would be twice as interested.
Wednesday. I wish it would not talk. It is always talking. That sounds like a cheap fling at the poor creature, a slur, but I do not mean it so. I have never heard the human voice before, and any new and strange sound intruding itself upon the solemn hush of these dreaming solitudes offends my ear and seems a false note. And this new sound is so close to me. It is right at my shoulder, first on one side, then on the other. And I'm used only to sounds that are more or less distant from me. Tuesday. Cloudy today, wind in the east. Think we shall have rain. We? Where did I get that word? I remember now. The new creature uses it. Friday. My life is not as happy as it was. The new creature eats too much fruit. We are going to run short, most likely. We again. That is its word. Mine too now, from hearing it so much. Sunday. Pulled through. This day is getting to be more and more trying. It was selected and set apart as a day of rest. I already had 6 of them per the week before.
Wednesday. We are getting along very well indeed now and getting better and better acquainted. During the last day or two, I have taken the work of naming things off his hands, and this has been a great relief to him, for he has no gift in that line and is evidently very grateful.
Tuesday, I get no chance to name anything myself. The new creature names everything that comes along before I can get in a protest. And always the same pretext is offered. It looks like the thing. There is the dodo, for instance. Says the moment one looks at it, one sees a glance that it looks like a dodo. It will have to keep that name, no doubt. It wearies me to fret about it, and it does no good anyway. Dodo. It looks no more like a dodo than I do.
Thursday, my first sorrow. Yesterday he avoided me and seemed to wish I would not talk to him. I could not believe it and thought there was some mistake. When night came, I could not bear the lonesomeness and went to the new shelter he has built to ask him what I had done that was wrong and how I could mend it and get back in his kindness again. But he put me out in the rain.
Thursday. Built a shelter against the rain, but could not have it to myself in peace. The new creature intruded. When I tried to put it out, it shed water out of the holes it looks like with, and wiped it away with the back of its paws, and made a noise such as some of the other animals make when they are in distress.
Sunday. It is pleasant again now, and I am happy, but those were heavy days. I do not think when I can help it.
Monday. The new creature says its name is Eve. That is all right. I have no objections. Says it is to call it by when I want it to come. I said it was superfluous then. The word evidently raised me in its respect, and indeed it is a large, good word and will bear repetition. It says it is not an it is a she.
Monday again. This morning I told him my name, hoping it would interest him, but he did not care for it. It is strange. If he should tell me his name, I would care. I think it would be pleasanter in my ears than any other sound. He talks very little. Perhaps it is because he is not bright and is sensitive about it and wishes to conceal it. It is such a pity that he should feel so, for brightness is nothing. It is in the heart that the values lie. Although he talks so little, he has quite a considerable vocabulary. This morning he used a surprisingly good word. He evidently recognized himself that it was a good one, for he worked it in twice afterward, casually. It was not good casual art. Still, it showed that he possesses a certain quality of perception. Without a doubt, that seed can be made to grow if cultivated. Tuesday. All the morning I was at work improving the estate. At noon I stopped for the day and took my recreation by flitting about with the bees and the butterflies and reveling in the flowers, those beautiful creatures that catch the smile of God out of the sky and preserve it. I gathered them and made them into wreaths and garlands and clothed myself in them while I ate my luncheons. Apples, of course. Then I sat in the shade and wished and waited, but he did not come. Friday. I saw him again for a moment last Monday at the nightfall, but only for a moment. I was hoping he would praise me for trying to improve the estate, for I had meant well and had worked hard, but he was not pleased and turned away and left me.
Saturday. I escaped Monday and traveled 2 days and built another shelter in a secluded place and obliterated my tracks as well as I could. But she hunted me out and came making that pitiful noise again and shedding that water which she calls tears. I was obliged to return with her, but will presently emigrate again when the occasion offers. Sunday, pulled through. Monday, I believe I see what the week is for. It is to give time to rest up from the weariness of Sunday. It makes a good idea. Tuesday, she told me she was made out of a rib taken from my body. This is at least doubtful, if not more than that. I have not missed any rib. Sunday, pulled through. Thursday, perhaps I ought to remember that she is young and make allowances. She is all interest, eagerness, vivacity. The world to her is a charm, a wonder, a mystery, a joy. She can't speak for delight when she finds a new flower. She must pet it and caress it and smell it and talk to it and pour out endearing names upon it. And she is color mad. Brown rocks, yellow sand, gray moss, green foliage, blue sky, the pearl of dawn, the purple shadows of the mountains, the golden islands floating in crimson seas at sunset, the pallid moon sailing through the shredded cloud rack, the star jewels glittering in the wastes of space. None of them is of any practical value so far as I can see, but because they have color and majesty, that is enough for her, and she loses her mind over them. If she could quiet down and keep still a couple of minutes at a time, it would be a responsible spectacle. In that case, I think I could enjoy looking at her. Indeed, I'm sure I could, for I am coming to realize that she is a remarkably calmly creature. And once, when she was standing sun-drenched on a boulder, watching the flight of birds in the sky, I recognized that she was beautiful.
And now we'll hear from our choir. The Diaries of Adam and Eve continue. Monday. It is a joy to be so beautiful. And Adam, he is the same. When I have flowers on my head, it is better still. Thursday. Today in a wood we heard a voice. We hunted for it, but could not find it. Adam said he had heard it before, but had never seen it, though he had been quite close to it. So he was sure it was like the air and could not be seen. I asked him to tell me all he knew about the voice, but he knew very little. It was the Lord of the garden, he said, and had told him to dress the garden and keep it, and it has said we must not eat of a certain tree, and if we ate of it, we would surely die. That was all he knew. I wanted to see the tree, so we had a pleasant long walk to where it stood alone in a secluded and lovely spot. And there we sat down and looked long at it with interest and talked. Adam said it was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Good and evil?
Yes.
What is that?
What is what?
Why those things? What is good?
How should I know?
Well then, what is evil?
I suppose it is the name of something, but I do not know what.
But Adam, you must have some idea what it is.
Why should I have some idea? I have never seen the thing. What is your notion of it?
Of course I had none, and it was unreasonable of me to require him to have one. There was no way for either of us to guess what it might be. It was a new word, like the other. We had not heard them before, and they meant nothing to us. My mind kept running on the subject, and presently I said, Adam, there are the other words, die and death. What do they mean?
I have no idea.
Well then, what do you think they mean?
My dear, cannot you see that it is impossible for me to make even a plausible guess concerning a matter about which I am absolutely ignorant? A person can't think when he has no material to think with. Isn't that true?
Yes, I know it, but how vexatious it is. Just because I can't know, I all the more want to know. We sat a while turning the puzzle over in our minds. Then all at once I saw how to find out and was surprised that we had not thought of it in the beginning. It was so simple. I sprang up and said, how stupid we are. Let us eat of it. Then we shall die, and then shall know what it is and not have any more bother about it. But then a most curious creature came floundering by, of a kind which we had never seen before, and of course we dropped a matter that was of no special scientific interest to rush after one that was.
Monday. Is there anything on the planet that she is not interested in? It is not in my list. There are animals that I am indifferent to, but it is not so with her. She takes to all of them. She thinks they are all treasures. Everyone is welcome. Tuesday. She has taken up with a snake now. Nothing comes amiss to her in the animal line. She trusts them all. They all trust her. And because she wouldn't betray them, she thinks they won't betray her. I am glad because the snake talks, and this enables me to get a rest. Friday. She says the snake advises her to try the fruit of that tree and says the result will be a great and fine and noble education.
Thursday. I tried to get him some of those apples. I failed, but I think the good intention pleased him.
Tuesday. She has been climbing that tree again. She said nobody was looking, seems to consider that a sufficient justification for chancing any dangerous thing. Told her that. The word justification moved her admiration and envy too, I thought. It is a good word. I advised her to keep away from the tree. She said she wouldn't. I foresee trouble. will immigrate. Wednesday. Escaped that night and rode a horse as fast as he could go, hoping to get clear out of the garden and hide in some other country before the disaster should fall. But it was not to be. About an hour after sunup, as I was riding through a flowery plain where thousands of animals were grazing, slumbering, or playing with each other, according to their wont, all of a sudden they broke into a tempest of frightful noises, and in one moment the plain was a frantic commotion, and every beast was destroying its neighbor. I knew what it meant. Eve had eaten that fruit, and death was come into the world. I found this place outside the garden, but she has not found me out. In fact, I was not sorry, and she has found me out. In fact, I was not sorry she came, but there was but meager pickings here, and she brought some of those apples. I was obliged to eat them. I was so hungry. It was against my principles, but I find that principles have no real force except when one is well fed. I find she is a good deal of a companion. I see I would be lonesome and depressed without her, now that I have lost my property. Another thing, she says it is ordered that we work for our living hereafter. She will be useful. I will superintend.
After the fall. When I look back, the garden is a dream to me. It was beautiful, surpassingly beautiful, enchantingly beautiful. And now it is lost, and I shall not see it anymore. The garden is lost, but I have found him and am content. He loves me as well as he can. I love him with all the strength of my nature. If I ask myself why I love him, I find I do not know, and do not really much care to know. So I suppose that this kind of love is not a product of reasoning and statistics, like one's love for reptiles and animals. I think that this must be so. I love certain birds because of their song, but I do not love Adam on account of his singing. No, it is not that. It is not on account of his brightness that I love him. No, it is not that. He is not to blame for his brightness, such as it is, for he did not make it himself. He is as God made him, and that is sufficient. It is not on account of his gracious and considerate ways and his delicacy that I love him. No, he is lax in these regards, but he is well enough just so, and is improving. It is not on account of his industry that I love him. No, it is not that. I think he has it in him, and I do not know why he conceals it from me. It is my only pain. Then why is it that I love him? At bottom, I think I love him merely because he is mine. This kind of love is not a product of reasonings and statistics. It just comes. None knows whence, and I cannot explain it and don't need to.
12 years later. After all these years, I see that I was mistaken about Eve in the beginning. It is better to live outside the garden with her than inside it without her. At first I thought she talked too much, but now I should be sorry to have that voice fall silent and pass out of my life. Blessed be the sorrow that brought us near together and taught me to know the goodness of her heart and the sweetness of her spirit.
They drove us out from the garden with their swords of flame. And what had we done? We meant no harm. We were ignorant and did as any child might do. It is my prayer, it is my longing that we may pass from this life together, a longing which shall never perish from the earth, but shall have a place in the heart of every wife that loves until the end of time, and it should be called by my name. But if one of us must go first, it is my prayer that it shall be I. Life without him would not be life. How could I endure it? This prayer is also immortal and will not cease from being offered up while my race continues. I am the first wife, and in the last wife I shall be repeated.
Years later, at Eve's grave, wheresoever she was, there was Eden.
The Diaries of Adam and Eve, translated by Mark Twain, if anyone is interested in following up on this presentation we've had. This is the book. This congregation has a long history of care, vitality, and bringing people together to move the arc of justice forward. We've been able to live into our hopes and dreams because of the generosity of those within and beyond this community. Whether you are here in Worship Hall or anywhere else, you are part of this community. To make a gift in support of the work of this congregation, you don't need to use the baskets that are now beginning to make their way among our pews. Wherever you are invited to go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how to make a donation or keep up with your pledge. Our gifts are freely given and gratefully received. We dedicate these gifts to the work of this community of faith, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. And now, please rise as you are willing and able as we join in singing Love Makes a Bridge, number 325 in our gray hymnal, verses 1 to 3. Love Makes a Bridge.
Oh,
Before we close this time of worship and reflection, a reminder that our online fellowship hour will begin at 11:30. For those who would like to access fellowship hour here, you can do so in the lounge out those doors and around to your right. There you'll be able to connect with all those joining fellowship hour from home and have discussions with those joining in person. We extinguish our chalice this morning to these words from Frederick Gillis. May the love that overcomes all differences, that heals all wounds, that puts to flight all fears, that reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. This morning's chalice is extinguished at the spark of our connections and faith remains. Kirk, will you please bless us again, and members of Chalice Choir? As we prepare now to leave this space, may our hearts remain open and our minds remain clear. We are people of both reason and heart, of both memory and hope. May we also always remain people of love, providing a place in this world for our spirit, a place called home, a place maybe that can be called Eden once again. Go in peace, go making peace. Let us do what we can to restore what is broken. Amen.